Yeah, I said his time at the top would not be very long. Top one, legend. I got it all back. And to celebrate, we've got some replays. Of course, I've got a couple against the guy who took my spot from me, Steron. But the main ones I'm going to go over are the ones that I thought were interesting last time. First one, Curlyhead. This is a game, you know, I was very close to losing. And it goes on for a while. And you're going to see me make some mistakes and actually be in a losing position in a 1v1, which very rare, but, happens from time to time. So, in this match, I want to push the south. I'm thinking I want to test this guy's cycle. It's a lot harder to cycle in areas that are further away from your cities, and I'm like, you know what? I beat this guy a few times. Let's just test him out. And this is fast forward a little bit, because this match does kind of drag on a bit. But, mostly just posturing, pushing the line forward a bit. I do have a little bit of a troop lead, but negligible. He's still, cycling good enough. And I'm not really concerned about getting a troop lead with this push in my head when I'm playing this game. I want to just get close to the city, stop it from healing, and then that will allow me to grind him down, because I'll have 5 cities worth of healing and he'll only have 4. But it's kind of a slow push, because it is a far away spot to cycle, which means that it's going to take a lot more time for my fresh troops to come over here and keep pushing, which means I don't actually gain a lot of ground. In hindsight, I probably won't try another push like this as blue. As red, it's a little different, and you'll see in the replay that I'm going to show you next. But, in the meantime, I produced an extra unit, so now I'm only making 2 a tick, and I'm using that extra unit just because it's such a far distance to the cities for cycle that I think having that extra unit is going to be preferable compared to Curlyhead going for the more traditional 3 units, or 3 income tick. So he made 2 units, I made 3. And you can see me start to go in a little bit of a troop deficit, but again, doesn't really matter. Bounces back and forth pretty evenly between us, and I'm still pushing and gaining ground. So technically, I am still winning, but it's kind of like a net nothing. And he makes a tank, so this is a investment into the late game, which he can do because this is going very slowly. I probably should have pushed up here. This city would have been easier to pressure than here, and the cycle would have been a lot better for me with these 4 cities compared to in the south. But I've already committed. No idea what happened to that tank. I guess he must have dipped below 0 and it died. But still just, posturing, just getting through the initial phase. Again, troop leads, nothing. I'm still just trying to get close. And I am slowly inching forward. I am pulling more troops from the rest of the line to kind of make this happen. But as I push closer and closer, it's harder for me to keep my cycle up because I'm getting way past, my cities are so far away, and his are getting pushed closer, and I haven't really gained an advantage, so I start doing stuff up here. I got a nice snipe on his tank, and pretty much take it out. That's going to be out of commission for, at least a couple minutes, but, my heavy is also pretty low. And I think I get close enough to stop healing temporarily, but not long enough. So I've got to pull back. And I'm in a deficit now. So I decide, you know what? This is actually a decent deficit. So I make sure I'm not fast for you. I go for a little snipe on his tank. But I don't get the landing on the other side to like fully encircle it. Well, I do, but it doesn't last. And meanwhile, my southern lines kind of collapsed a bit. This is not good. This northern invasion may not seem bad now, but it leaves my line exposed. Units are cut off, and it's pretty hard to like defend up here. I go for a counterattack, and the troop count's kind of evened out now that he's pushing closer to my cities again. You know, dangerous potential pocket here, but you know, nothing too scary. I'm able to stop it with a couple units. And now that he's pushing towards me, even though like the troop count isn't bad now, I miss a snipe on this city. And now because I did this goofy naval invasion play, I am now, my northern line's very weak, and I'm still in a troop deficit. I've lost quite a few units too, which is the big thing. None of his units like fully died, so they're going to be able to regenerate, whereas my units died fully, so I've got to wait to get the income in order to build them again. And things are not looking good in the north. In the south, I've got to commit a lot to just keeping him at bay. I don't want him to do what I was planning, to stop regeneration on this city. And now I've basically got nothing in the north. I've got a full health heavy and like a half health infantry, and then another full health heavy, which I just pushed forward, so that way nothing would be like healing just on the side. And I leave these guys with, you know, no support. I should have redirected more units from the south at this point, and leads to very dangerous. I commit this heavy to try and save the possible encirclement that I was seeing, like this whole army getting encircled, but it just leads to me throwing away a full health heavy, and that's 20,000 units down the drain, along with like I think around 4k on this one light unit. And now the deficit is starting to become real, because even though the deficit is still around the same amount, like troops total, I lost a lot of units, and the troop count is like the total troop count for both of us is dwindling. I get encircled again. I've got nothing in the north, and you know, that's not good for me. It's not ideal to have nothing. And he's also on the cusp of this city, stopping it from regenerating. As you can see, his health bar isn't moving at all. And I'm in make a move phase. If I want to come back from this game, I've got to make something happen. 30k troops down, he's right on the border of my city. Luckily this guy gets encircled and killed, but he's got a heavy unit with morale attacking the city. That's not very good. Deficit's dropping down to almost 30k now, over a little bit. And almost 40k actually. But luckily I'm able to pin this, stop it, and now the way that you have to act, you have to make some plays. You can't just play a traditional game and try and cycle when you're this far down and they're on your cities. I don't really remember like what my strategy was. I just know that I was losing, and I had to try and make things happen. I get encircled again in the south, you know, also not ideal. This, I think, is where I was like, it's probably over, but I'm going to keep fighting until I lose a city, because that's when it's going to be officially over. And I get a nice pick here. He kind of gets too aggressive. I get a nice pick in the center, even though I also get encircled. You know, both of us losing units is better than just me, so, you know, not too bad. And he's focused too much in the south, on the cusp of the city, no support, and leads to a large chunk of his troops getting encircled. Most of them were already dead, but dead units can't heal, so that's good for me. I'm still in a troop deficit, so, you know, I still got to be wary. But now I just have more units, so I can start healing. And at this point, I'm thinking I've stabilized, you know. I'm only 20k down now, and the troops are, like, so low for both of us that it's going to be hard for him to, like, push an advantage somewhere. Because everything on the front for both of us is kind of depleted. Just a couple lucky encirclements that I was able to make happen while it was chaotic. You know, while you're playing and looking at both things, it's easy to miss those little potential pockets, especially when you're like safe 1 second and then encircled the next. But now I'm mainly just healing all my guys, you know, still pumping units out. And because he lost a lot of units, I'm able to catch back up because, you know, my units didn't die so they can heal. He's got to wait to actually build the unit for it to start healing. And I still don't want to fight him because he's got the troop lead, but I'm okay with, like, leaving this city on the front line and not, you know, not, like, pushing him back. Because I want my units to be defending, so he takes more casualties attacking me. And I can still, you know, defend, being, like, still, like, 15k down. And, you know, he's going for more encirclements, but he just doesn't have the unit count to complete them. So that's 10,000 troops encircled. You can see the zone of control, like, threatening another encirclement. He's got to keep units in the back line, not fighting, which is evening out the troop count a little bit more. You know, he's getting lone, and he's got nothing in the north, so it's really easy to pick off the couple isolated units he has. And now there's a real threat of me, like, just pushing south and completing this whole encirclement, so he's got to make a decision to either, like, keep threatening the city or back up. This game was a while ago, so I don't actually remember what his choice was. I'm pretty sure he backs up. But, like, at this point, I've stabilized. Like, I think I was around 40k troops down at one point, and I'm fine playing 12k down compared to that. You know, this is all of his reserves. I think yeah, that's dangerous, but luckily he doesn't position his units right, and I'm able to break it out. That could have been a huge blunder, and it does lead to his, you know, whole fresh reserve army getting encircled. So I do drop down. You know, another blunder by me. I should have been, I was thinking it was too safe, or I thought my units were, like, didn't really have a chance to get encircled because of the city projection and me just having a ton of units there. But, you know, in the end, it still worked out for me. We both lost a lot, so still fine for me. But I'm still down. There's still a chance for him to, you know, push. He's still got this city not regenerating, so he's got 5 cities to work with and I have 4. But, you know, this can't keep up. The longer he fights closer to my cities, even though he's got 1 not regenerating, the better it's going to go for me, because it's going to be easier for me to cycle. And he's got nothing on most of his cities. That's a lot of healing you're missing out on, you know. They heal twice as fast when they're on cities. So I've got a bunch of units healing, and now the troop lead is almost closed. You know, he's still pushing. But honestly, like units like this that have no health, they really should be healing on the cities. He goes for another encirclement, but this time I do commit my low health units, which is something you're going to have to do when the troop counts are this low. You just got to commit pretty much everything. So I'm able to stop the encirclement, you know, before it happens, which is usually when you want to try and stop things from happening. And, you know, now the troop counts are pretty much even. I do have a lot of units that I would like to be pulling. Like, I don't want to be in this pocket. I'd rather straighten this line out and just have more units healing in the back here. But, you know, he's still got the advantage because this city is not healing still. But he just... when these troop counts are so low, honestly, it's very hard to fight across a big front line like this and, like, gain an advantage. I would probably say if you get an advantage like this and the troop counts are this low, it'd probably be better to, like, condense and just fight a small segment of the front line and then just keep a couple units in the back reserved for to prevent your whole army from getting encircled. I do lose a few more units here. He loses a few more units here. You know, we're both scrapping it out. The troop counts are so low on both of our sides. The unit counts are dropping. But I do have more units alive, which is, you know, important for regeneration. And I actually take the troop lead back, mostly because I've had my units on cities for longer and... well, I just have more units, so I can regenerate more at this time. And because I have the troop lead, it's not really in his best interest to keep fighting close to my cities, because that's just going to make the trades worse for him. And you can see, even though we're still fighting, I'm still gaining troops at a faster rate than he is. And at this point, you know, once I get a troop lead like this, I don't really lose it that often, you know, once it's past the initial stages. So now I just want to, I've got my 5th city healing again. I just want to keep regenerating while not letting his frontline troops heal. And now, even though we've got, like, the whole frontline fighting, I'm still gaining troops. I've got all my cities covered for healing. He's got some empty cities. And now we're just pretty much returning right where we started, except with less troops and less, you know, less of everything. And it's pretty close here. My troop lead is growing even more just because I'm able to heal more, and he's left most of his stuff on the front line. Go for an encirclement. Probably not the best idea, because my troop count is not that great. You know, not big enough to be able to go for encirclements like that. Still just kind of stalling, waiting for a big troop lead. Fast forward a bit. And we've pretty much returned right to our starting lines. But this is the closest I've come to losing in a while on a game that I have won. I wish I saved the games that I lost against Icy Dot, because those were also like situations like this, except I wasn't able to come back. And it, you know, don't want to only showcase me winning. That's not what I'm trying to do. No, I don't really care if I show my losses. And now, almost 30k troops in the lead. I was able to pick off some units, able to get another pick here, and now it's pretty much over. 40k troop lead. It's over for him. You know, there's a chance he could make another comeback like that, but it's very difficult. So it was a good game to Curly Head. He almost took me out, just not quite. And then other match, tournament finalist Eika. This is a same map actually, just we're on different sides. And this is the match. I actually played this before the previous match, so you're gonna see why I push the south. Is I'm pushing the north at the start. This is where I usually like to push. And I did. This is after I gave Eika some tips on like micro and cycling. Because we played a couple matches where I won and then, you know, asked for tips and then gave him some and then led to this match, which does drag on, so I'm going to fast forward it. But, you know, I'm still just posturing. My goal is to get close to this city, stop it from healing, and then just pressure. I go for a naval invasion. I really like to go for the, like, isolated heavy up here a lot. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get it. What I should have done is used a couple of these units and threatened this city as well, so he wasn't able to pull, like, this unit over to help in time. Because if I did that, I probably could have gotten away with killing this whole heavy unit, and then, like, my heavy probably would have had more health. But, you know, that's hindsight. I probably shouldn't be going for these naval invasions to pick off these heavies against good players until I get up more sizable lead, because all this did pretty much is sacrifice a couple units and make me lose the troop lead. But the problem with Eika this game is he's too defensive. I did give him tips, and he does use these tips to pretty much like outcycle me on the attack, but he doesn't press his advantage when he has the troop lead. So he allows me to recover. And, you know, it's good to play defensive. You're going to trade better. But when you get the advantage, you know, he had a much higher troop count than me for a while. You really should be attacking and not defending. Otherwise, you know, you're just throwing away your lead. And it just leads to more poke. I'm still fine, like, not fighting across the whole front since I'm still down. And at this point, I'm thinking, you know, maybe this northern push isn't working. He's cycling just as well when the cities are close. So I start pushing the center a little bit, you know, seeing how that goes. See if I can get a troop lead. It doesn't. It actually gives him a troop lead, and he does actually counterattack me in the north. And I am down on troops, still not an uncomfortable amount where I'm thinking that I've got to play purely defense for the next few minutes. But, you know, enough that he should feel comfortable attacking me back. And he does in the north a bit, but like no real offensives, like nothing continuous, just kind of a couple units pushing each other. So it's still mostly me initiating in the center. This, where he was pushing, he should have kept fighting up here, draining my troops. But you can see he kind of stops again and lets me build my troop count back up. So this match kind of just a lesson that when you do get the advantage, you do have to attack, because, you know, even though defending is good, or, you know, better than attacking statistically, you can't win the game only defending unless you pretty much try to, like, stall your opponent out to DC. And now I have the troop lead. And now I'm thinking, instead of threatening this northern city where he's got 4 cities nearby to reinforce, I'm going to threaten this southern city, because I've got 3 cities here that are kind of closer and 2 up here, whereas he has, like, these 3 cities here and these 2 further cities. So kind of the same cycle distance, but it's not going to be like an advantage for him as it was in the north. So, you know, I start testing him, seeing how he's going to cycle, and I do have a troop lead. And I don't know if I lose it or not pushing. You are going to lose troops pushing, so don't be afraid to go in a bit of a deficit just to gain some ground. As long as you're able to get close enough to the city and have the sacrifices of troops be worth it, it'll be fine. But troop count for both of us is starting to tick down, and that's fine. I've maintained my lead. He's still not doing anything in the north. He either should be pulling some more troops down here to cycle, and he's leaving these units on the front way too long to where they're almost dying. So these guys are going to be out of action for a bit. They're going to take way too long to heal, and my units are still all pretty healthy. And from here on out, starting to get to that point on the troop deficit where he needs to make some moves, and just playing the grind game is not going to go, he's not going to be able to just keep trading with me like this for too much longer, because I'm still pushing and gaining ground, and he's not catching up on the troop lead. And as long as I can just keep inching forward, troop lead does kind of dip down, but you know, nothing too, I still have it, so I can still be super aggressive. Again, you know, no movement up here. I'm fine not moving any troops on here since I'm winning and pushing. So I don't really want him to be microing anything up here, or like diverting resources to the south, which, you know, 1 or 2 extra lights would be preferable. And these units here on the front that are like half health probably could get cycled out as well. You don't really want to leave units like that on the front, even though they are still in the green. It would be better to like pull them back and heal. Troop count does equalize, and you know, that's good for him. You know, he was able to trade with me enough, but he left some units exposed here that I was able to get, you know, real good picks on, like his heavy. And he still isn't counterattacking me. He should be trying to push me away, because the closer that you get to a city, the more valuable the land is. So he really should be attacking me at some point. And, you know, that's part of the reason why his trades are so good, is because he's just defending. But because he's just defending, he's just losing ground. And I think I'm getting close to the point, yeah, where his units aren't healing anymore. So now I pretty much got 6 cities and he's got 5. And all of these units need to heal, but he's got 1 less city to heal. And he's healing tanks right now, which are gonna take forever. Like, he could heal a couple infantry in the same amount of time it'd take to heal these tanks. And now I'm on the city. So now he's not gonna be able to afford to just like defensively trade with me, because any ground he loses here means that he's gonna lose the game. This far down, I would suggest him pulling back to like right here, holding this line with as few units as possible, and then diverting everything else to the south and let me kind of push forward. Again, it's hard to come back from a deficit like this, but you saw in the last game, you kind of gotta play pretty crazy to come back from deficits this large. And he doesn't do that. He continues to play the cycle game, and it results in me capturing the city. Mostly because he just never attacked me. So, you know, you're gonna need to attack at some point. Only defending is going to mean that you lose, because you're not gonna capitalize on the advantages that you do gain when you do attack. And those are just the 2 games I wanted to show you. I did get rank 1 back, clapped a steer on a couple more times in 1v1s. Nothing really too interesting in those matches though. FFA. Got my legend tag back. That's pretty much it. I'm back on top. The last one to be taken out. Lund, your time is coming.